Hey guys, last fan of the night. Last fan of the night. So this is a chrome Bananafan. And shout out to Connor and his dad and to Blake Zebra who got this thing to me. Not going to say I was actively looking for one of these, but Bananafans in general are one of my most important childhood fans. And certainly not going to turn down a chrome one. I haven't seen a chrome one in a very long time. This would have originally come with plexiglass blades. And I might have two of the original blades for it. I'm not sure. Because I can't remember what blade shape. Does it have a tag? No tag. Tag is long gone. I can't remember what blade shape these came with. Whether they came with the shape like this, or the baseball bat, or even something more generic. I gotta find some pictures. If anybody else has any pictures, email or Facebook message them to me. Because I don't remember. I have to decide as well if I want to get plexiglass blades made for it or other blades. If somebody has a set of spare Bananafan blades, I would take any set of blades. If somebody has a set of spare cane blades, I think it would be really cool to do cane with this. I'm not going to... These blades go to another fan, so I'm not going to modify these. But what I could do is I could paint the cane silver and then paint the wood black. I think that would be really cool. I'd probably like that more than plexiglass. I could just put generic wood blades on it. I think if I had a set of the really dark Leslie Locke, kind of almost rosewoody blades, that would look really good. Because I may not do the plexiglass. I'm just not a big plexiglass fan, pun not intended. But I may. I actually just need to find out, A, what the correct shape would be if I did get them plexiglass, and then B, if anybody has any spare blades that they would sell me. So, these are a very cool designed fan, but also a very terrible designed fan. They're basically one step away from friction drive. They were Union's and Evergo's answer to a Hunter Original. They are shaded pole, and it is the least efficient shaded pole motor I've ever seen. It draws more than an original and goes slower, although the brackets are pretty steeply pitched. They are noisy, although if you bypass the variable speed, they're a lot quieter. And they have my favorite pull chain control. There is a solid state control inside the switch housing, and then there are two pull chains that wrap around a pulley, and that's how you adjust the speeds. So I'm excited to test this one. It's going to be big inrush. It's set to low, but it's set to low on the solid state, which is not that slow. You can adjust the low speed trim, but it's a pain. You have to disassemble the whole switch housing, so I did not do that, obviously. 1.85. It's got a very low power factor, though. 80 watts, that's still pretty high for what is essentially, like, that is not 80 watts worth of motion. And it's loud. Again, if you bypass the solid state. I've talked about it before, but I'll certainly bring it up again, that my dad's twin brother had one of these in his kitchen in both of the houses that he lived in. And I ended up with the second one. So I'm pulling one of the... So right now, this is the low pull chain, and it's all the way to low, and I'm pulling the high pull chain gradually. So it's a little rusty, so it's... Oops, I turned it all the way to off. There we go. So that is high. It is drawing right around 3 amps. $181 watts, power factor of about half. So that is a lot of watts. Let's see if I can get a reading on it. That's not right. That seems right. Alexa, 700 divided by 4.
700 divided by 4 is 175.
That seems about right. So it's close to 200, but not 200. Getting a pretty consistent 531. Alexa, 531 times 14.75.
531 times 14.75 is 7,832.
So it's under the K55 category, which is a little surprising. But honestly, this one's kind of like, it's close to 200, which is faster than I remember. I remember them being pretty slow, but of course that one, I guess, could have bad bearings or something. A lot of these had sealed bearings. The earliest ones were oil bath, but oil bath is a lot more expensive to make, and Union and Evergo were not known for making expensive shit. Bearings were pretty, like, kind of, ever heard of them when they say, like, crackly sounding bearings? Like, you can hear bits of metal breaking away. So I did soak them in WD-40 to take the switch housing off, soak them in WD-40, and, yeah. So, let's see, 10 switch, I'm going to guess, not going to start, let's see. No. That's 17. It's drawing an amp to go that slow. 25 watts. That's crazy. Let's just do a quick bump. Yeah, that's crazy that that's an amp. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. Still a ways under. 'Course, with shaded pull, I can't do big jumps because those can lead to bad surprises. 31. 32. 33. 34, and I can hear it getting close. 35. 36. Is that over? No. Yes, it is actually. Okay. 36 is right on the nose. 35 is as high as we can go. Really no point in doing solid state because it's solid state in the fan, but I'm going to do it just out of pure curiosity. Doubling up on a solid state doesn't make much difference. Okay. 0 to high. I'm going to guess 3.15. I'm trying not to cheat because, like, I could just say, since it's just me here, I could just say $1, Bob, and then I'd win. Because there's nobody to bet against. I think it's going to be obviously no lower than 3, but I think it might actually hit 3.15. So let's see. I don't mind it with these blades, but the cane's too yellow. If these were plain blades or the cane was, yeah. Bypass, yep. Okay, so when I said 3, I was right, but not 315. Alexa, garage off. I want to see if we can do a very specific Rick test here, because do you guys realize what just happened? That is me putting the light bulb in the circuit. That is how bright the light bulb is glowing with this fan on high. That's how much current it is drawing. It is enough to light a 300 watt bulb to half. That's crazy. Alexa, garage on. So let's do 20 instead. Actually, here, I'm going to do it a different way. So, yeah, any Bananafan is high tier Menards, and which is ironic because they sold these at Menards, and there was a time when every Menards had these in the snack bar. Usually 4, and then they would get replaced as the irons would break on these because they have very flimsy blade irons. But yeah, I remember the first time I saw them in Menards was the one by my grandparents' house in Appleton, Wisconsin. And I've still seen them in a Menards as recently as maybe 10 years ago in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm sure they're all gone now. But yeah, they were a classic Menards. They were the definitive Menards fan in the early 80s. And there were commercials where they're the only fan that Menards had. So there's 10, no, 20. Because I don't want a super bright light. I wish I had a brighter bulb. I wonder if I could plug the heat. Well, I don't want heat. Let's try plugging the heater in instead. That might be a bad idea, but I like bad ideas sometimes. That's what the heater plugged in where the bulb would be. That's pretty funny. What I really need is a much brighter bulb. Or even multiple bulbs. I'm trying to think of my options. I want to leave it running overnight, but I don't want to leave it running overnight with no protection and drawing so many amps. I bet Metal Pete likes these. I bet they're metal. What do I have here that's higher than 300 watts besides a heater? Because I don't really... I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world if the heater runs, because the heater is often running here overnight. Let's try it again. Let's put the heater in the circuit. And let's do 30. Okay, let's take the heater out of the circuit. Different, but not crazy different. What's interesting is the heater only kicks on when I disconnect the foot switch. That's crazy. Like it's got that little protection switch. I had a 500 watt bulb somewhere. I wonder what happened to that. Even if I had multiple 300s. I don't love the idea of the heater being plugged in series. I don't like those things that could go wrong there too. I guess I could just do it without the lamp and just let the test rig be the protection. After all, capacitors can fail. That's crazy. It's still drawing 2 amps. I'm glad the power company doesn't charge on amps. 100 watts, that's kind of a lot of watts. So yeah, we've talked about, this is definitely very, very me. I bet you Metal Pete likes it. Brick, I don't know. We've never talked about Bananafans. Yeah, they're Malays, so they got to be at least wood grain station wagon, if not a full-on appliance. So, okay. Well, I'm just sitting here trying to think of what I can do about this light bulb, but I don't want to have a bright light in the garage all night, but I also don't want to have the fan running without something in series with it. But I mean, it should be fine. These run all the time. And it's got capacitors in series with it. I think I'll leave it. Okay. Well, as always, please stay tuned for a word from our sponsor. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. Don't forget to purchase Pedro's, and of course, our most important sponsor, Buy Fanstick. Thanks for watching.
This video is brought to you by the following sponsors: Sandstick, Lightstick, Taco Burrito Mexico, Sperry, the beverage of fan collectors, The Good Manufacturing Company, 81220 LLC, where our motto is crunch, 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 crunch. rickorsheep.com, a fun game you can play with your friends. For more information, go to rickorsheep.com. Power Vacuum, the vacuum with more vacuums. Udong Batteries. When I think of batteries, I think of Udong.
Major funding for this series is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support of viewers like you.
Pedro's making Mexican. Pedro's making Mexican.